Hey everyone, this amazing ESO Network show is brought to you by our fine sponsor, Amazon.com. Please remember to shop Amazon for all your geeky needs, no matter what time of the year it is. All you need to do is go to esopodcast.com/ESO Amazon, or click on the Amazon banner on the ESO Network webpage to go to our e-store. It's the best way to shop and the best way to support this program, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Okay, that's enough of me babbling for now. Now on with your regular scheduled show.
Are you ready to rock?
This is where the world of pop culture and talk collide.
Hey, how you doing, kid?
This is the Adam and JP Show.
And we're back. Whoa. That was a long break.
That was a long teaser. That's a long cliffhanger.
Before, to give you what has happened in the span of time since the last live show and now. You were single.
Right, yeah.
Carrie Fisher was still alive.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama was still president.
That's true.
Wait a minute.
Well, still kind of. Still two-thirds. I mean,
yeah.
For a little bit longer.
Yeah, a couple of days.
Yeah.
But, welcome back.
Those are big changes, though.
Do I even remember how we do this?
This does feel strange.
It does.
What does this button do? Ooh.
So you went to Hawaii. You honeymooned in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I vacationed in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Rogue One.
Yeah.
It seems like there's something else major I'm forgetting.
It's a lot of stuff.
That's happened.
Yeah.
We're going to get to all that.
Yeah.
But before we do that, there's something I want to share with you. I actually just shared this with you, and you hadn't seen this before.
Yeah,
right?
It's pretty awesome.
I was watching TV over the weekend, and I saw the new DirecTV commercial. And I was blown away because never have I thought one national spot was aimed directly towards me more than this commercial. So I thought what we would do is I'm going to play this commercial from YouTube, and then we'll kind of go through it. And if you haven't seen it, we'll tell you a little bit what's going on, because there's not a lot of dialogue in this.
No, you have to do a walk-by, like a play-by-play walkthrough of it.
So this DirecTV commercial, you may have seen this. It starts out with a guy, I don't know, I would say between our ages, probably.
Yeah.
And he's walking out of his apartment, and he has his DirecTV mobile app up.
Yeah.
And this is everything that you can watch on DirecTV, mobily. That's the whole point of this. He's walking around the city, and this is what happens. This is how the commercial starts. All right, now Adam.
Yeah.
You put a Rocky theme
Right.
at the beginning.
You have my attention.
Of a commercial.
At that point, you have me fully invested.
I don't know if they still give out commercial awards.
If they do, whoever puts a Rocky theme song at the beginning deserves one.
So as he starts to walk down his block, the Rocky theme starts, and he's watching Rocky on his phone.
Surrounded by people in gray sweatsuits.
Exactly.
As they should be.
Yeah, but that's not... Then we notice that two of the people running with him are Cliff and Norm from Cheers.
Right.
And so they play the Cheers theme. And he's headed towards the bus. But before he gets to the bus, the Breaking Bad RV drives by.
Right, it does.
Which is pretty cool. And two guys in hazmat suits inside. When he gets on the bus, it's a bunch of extras from Game of Thrones.
Right.
There's no major character. There's no Norm. There's no Cliff from Game of Thrones.
Give it 20 years. Once they have no more work to do, they'll be on there.
Jon Snow's not on the bus. The Mother of Dragons isn't on the bus, but you do get, it's very gray. Everybody's bearded. They're dressed like they're on Game of Thrones.
No snow, just Ratzenberger.
Right. Yeah. And that's a football team.
They'll become football players.
Yeah, they'll become football players. And then the bus throws water on someone from Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the people in your neighborhood?
And then there's Big Bird.
Yeah.
Having coffee with some kids on an iPad outside the bus stop.
That did happen.
There's Big Bird. And then it just, from here on, it just gets better. Like from this point forward, I'm not even going to stop
You think
it.
you're intrigued now? Just go ahead.
I'm just going to let it play and then explain what happened afterwards.
Do it.
In your neighborhood.
Only AT&T offers you all your live channels and DVR on your devices data-free. It's entertainment your way.
What's great about that is not only visually, but I didn't see that the second time. It was just the sound design, and that was perfect. I knew exactly what was happening just by the sounds and themes that were happening.
So after Big Bird, he's walking down the street by a store, and there's the curtain from Psycho, and you see the scene from Psycho behind him. And then he's in the puffy shirt from Seinfeld. That's when the Seinfeld theme played. Can it get any better than like this is the best commercial ever
It can get better.
at that point,
I
right?
didn't think it could, but it does.
Oh no. Bank robbers fall out of a window and Kit pulls up with David Hasselhoff in the car. And Kit's talking. At this point, I'm like, well, if I didn't already have DirecTV, I would sign up instantly.
You would, yeah. It's a good thing you have it.
So he gets in a cab. The cab turns into the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and he flies off.
Around the corner of a building, by the way.
Where the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is marching around the city.
This sounds like a dream you had as a 10-year-old.
Yes, it does. And it's a 60-second DirecTV commercial.
Yeah.
Find this on YouTube and watch it.
It's pretty awesome.
This is basically our show summed up in a
That's true.
60-second commercial.
I can't imagine the money they had to pay for licenses and actors, and I guess once they are shown on DirecTV, maybe there's some kind of underlying agreement they can use those things for promotion. Maybe I don't know.
Plus, now you have DirecTV and Warner Brothers, together. So there's lots of money. There's lots of money available to Direct. Plus, if you've ever seen a DirecTV bill,
Yeah,
they got money.
Well, yeah.
Plus, AT&T owns DirecTV.
that's
now.
true. Yeah,
So now all the AT&T money they can pay for it.
because now you can have an AT&T Internet and DirecTV package. I looked into last week.
Yeah, you
Not
thinking
gonna-
about doing it?
No,
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 you should. Yeah,
There's no.
Yeah.
Everything I need is right. What I can do it now.
you say that, but
It's
it's
true.
Not really.
Even now, and this isn't illegal because it's on YouTube. I pay nothing for it, but they have live streams of everything.
Such as,
I mean, everything. Every news channel, every football game.
well, then those are probably free.
Yeah, there's live streams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
'Cause
from the channel itself, but it's someone else is streaming it.
Because I know, like, even the NFL Network streams football games on Twitter.
Yeah, but like the playoff game last night, I watched those on YouTube live.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no need for paid things. I have nothing I need.
Nah,
It's true.
You say that.
That's true.
Yeah, you miss out on a
Because
lot,
if
though.
I did that, though, I would have to cancel my monthly subscriptions elsewhere, or else my bill to combine would be $200.
That's true. That's true.
There's
You do
no
have
way. I have too many exclusives on those streamings. That's how they have me.
You have to make
The
the
exclusives.
make the decision.
Yeah,
do
can't do it.
you want to pay one thing and see everything as it happens live
Yeah.
on your TV from the comfort of your living room?
Yeah.
Or do you want to pay $10 here, $10 there,
Yes.
and jump around
Yeah, because even then it's cheaper.
and hopefully find something that you're into?
Yeah.
No.
But
I'm the master of television. I see everything, and I'm happy.
You were still staying with cable in the dish, huh?
Yeah, I
Man,
mean,
I can't. Ugh.
I agree.
It's been a year and a half, and it's the best decision I've ever made.
There will be a day where it's all. And we've talked about this before, where it's all. You can. It will make sense to just pick and choose what you want to see. I'm not at that day yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I'm a television junkie.
Yeah.
There's always something on.
Yeah.
Worth watching.
That's the one thing I like. Yeah, I do like games and movies much more than TV, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So how was the honeymoon in Hawaii?
Amazing.
Let's jump right into it.
Oh, man. Amazing.
You had a fantastic wedding, by the way.
Thank you. It was fun.
It was very lovely.
It was fun. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
Enjoyed it.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
Good time was had
You
by all.
almost danced. You came out and threw some thumbs out.
Yeah. There you go.
It almost happened.
You saw it.
Yeah.
I went crazy.
Yeah.
That was me going nuts.
But that happened. So let's do chronological of what things that happened. Before that, even before the wedding rehearsal dinner itself, we watched Rogue One for the first time.
Yes, we did.
And that was maybe the day after or 2 days after the last time we recorded. So
I think the day before we went to see Rogue One. Or the day before
The
we
day after.
recorded. The day after that we went to see Rogue One.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what I just said.
So previously on Adam and JP, we teased Rogue One was coming out.
I can't wait to see Rogue One.
So the first time we saw it, I didn't like it whatsoever, but you kind of liked it, I would say, the first time around, yeah?
I enjoyed it
Yeah.
the first time around. Now, granted, it was a really crowded theater, and we were sitting at an awkward angle.
We had the big D, though.
We were in the big D. Now, there's no denying.
Yeah.
That theater was a big D.
Right.
Watching Rogue One.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a really good Star Wars story, which is exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
There was no, Ben Kenobi. There was no Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
It was an interesting story. You did get Darth Vader.
I did.
And boy,
I
did
did.
you get
Can we
Darth
say,
Vader.
spoilers from here on out. If you haven't seen it by now, do yourself a favor and go do it. Regardless if you like it or not, you should see them all. I'm a fan. I'm the kind of guy that says you should watch prequels as well. They might not be the best, but you should see them.
No, you should.
The second time I saw it later on, I liked it more than the first time, but still, it's a positive meh. I will own it when it comes out. I have to. I own the prequels as well. You have to do that, but it's definitely not my favorite. It wouldn't break top 3 for me. in Star Wars
absolutely.
movies. Really?
Absolutely for me.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's better than Return of the Jedi. It's better than any of the prequels. It's so much better than Return of the Jedi in the prequels.
What? Oh.
The only one
can't stand by
the
that. Not
only
even
one
close.
it can even compete with is the original Star Wars and Empire Strikes
What
Back.
about Force Awakens? You like that more than Force Awakens? I can't.
I'll say it's a better movie than Force Awakens.
Oh.
Did I enjoy it more than Force Awakens?
Yeah.
No, but it was a better movie than Force
I
Awakens.
can't stand by this comment. I can't do it.
It was.
That hurts me so.
It might be. I mean, it's going to be right there.
Wow.
It's going to be Star Wars, Empire,
Yeah.
Force Awakens.
Really?
That's the top 4 right
Yeah.
there. And Rogue One.
Yeah.
That's the top 4 right there.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the Return of the Jedi, which is good. I mean, it was fun. But even when, as you know, as you get older and you go back and you compare Return of the Jedi to Empire Strikes Back, there's a big drop in quality.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And I think Rogue One lands more on the level that Empire was on.
But just, I mean, you know, my love of Star Wars and where it lies is that Skywalker story, that Force, that the relationships. That's what it is.
And honestly, I got to be honest with you,
Yeah.
it was kind of a pleasant departure from that. In the sense that the Force Awakens kind of was too. It was still there. You still had the influence, but it wasn't. You know, it was Rey, and it was that story. It was her trying to find where she fits in the whole, galaxy, I guess.
Yeah.
And this was just like a fantastic war movie. This was like,
I will agree with that. It was a war movie.
this was like the Dirty Dozen or the Magnificent Seven.
And it was well done. But you kind of, it has that prequelitis going into it. You know every single person you meet, every character you know. There's no need to become attached because regardless if they live or die throughout the movie, they won't show up again later on. So that for me, from the get-go, that was kind of like a whatever happens to you, I don't care. There are no tears shed. Where if if Chewbacca dies in the future movies, tears will be shed.
Right.
That will happen.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because you have more of a history with that character.
Yeah, but with these, you know, going in, you can't have a history. So it's kind of just like temporary, they're there and they're gone. You know it. And for me in Star Wars, it's all about we have some story arcs lasting 30 years. When Han Solo died last year, that was a 30-plus year story arc.
It's not that this doesn't fit into those story arcs.
Right, it totally fits. It totally does.
Yeah.
But for me, going in, I had no longevity to it, so I didn't get too invested to it.
And in a series of films that have overused the Death Star,
Yeah.
this may be the best Death Star story in the Star Wars movies.
It was well done.
And, for a series of films called Star Wars, you really haven't got a lot of war
Right.
in the movies.
But like I've said before, my least favorite part of the Star Wars movies are the war scenes, like the space battles, the land battles. That's when I kind of zone out myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you like the Force stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think this was a great Force story because it didn't show, it wasn't, I mean, seriously, dude, how many times do you want to see robes and lightsabers?
A lot.
Wouldn't you like to see a fresh story?
Wouldn't you say the best part of this movie by far was the part with robes and lightsabers? Because you can't deny that.
Oh, you mean Darth Vader?
Yeah. I mean, for me, that was, and I'll give you that. That was I can't think of a better 90-second clip in Star Wars history. To me, if people say what's the best part in Star Wars history, I'm going to show that scene there. But it comes from one of my least favorite Star Wars movies.
In saying that, you have to say this is the best Darth Vader appearance since The Empire Strikes Back.
I can say that. Best Darth Vader appearance since. I can say that. Yeah. I'll stand with you on that one.
I mean, this kind of put Darth Vader back on that mantle of a guy that should be feared.
We've always wanted to see Vader in his prime, and we finally saw it.
Yeah.
You've only heard stories, even at his youngest before this, as Vader. You saw him in A New Hope, and it was like two old decrepit men fighting with he and Obi-Wan. It was kind of rough.
Well, I mean, but this happens
I know, but
maybe,
as far as
just a few weeks before that battle,
physicality of it, it's much, much different. The Vader you see here compared to 3 weeks later versus Obi-Wan.
I think that was more of a desire of the filmmaker to make Vader a badass in this movie.
Yeah, I think so.
Whereas in the original Star Wars, they were just trying to get a movie made.
Yeah.
So choreography wasn't that important
Yeah.
as the galaxy they were trying to create or the world they were trying to create.
In an interview with George Lucas, he said the first in A New Hope, he wanted. He took very much from Chinese tradition and wanted those lightsabers to be very heavy, between 40 and 60 pounds apiece. So you couldn't. At all times, the actors had to have both hands on the lightsaber. It was so heavy. It was had that powerful force to it. But for Empire Strikes Back and, of course, later on, it was a much lighter weapon. And you see stuff with, Yoda in the prequels. He's doing flips and 360s, and even Dooku himself is doing all kinds of one-handed maneuvers. So first off, he wanted it to be this big, strong, powerful weapon, but it changed as time went on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, man, I think watching Rogue One, it really just nails home how bad the prequels really are.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
And when you have take Star Wars out of it, that was just a great movie.
It was very well done.
You know what it reminded me of? It's kind of like when I went to see The Dark Knight. Like The Dark Knight was, it's one of my favorite Batman movies, if not my favorite Batman movie. But it's just a great movie on its own without relying on Batman.
Yeah, non-comic fans can watch that and enjoy it.
And I think that's what I liked about Rogue One is it was a great movie that just stands there by itself and doesn't have to lean on any of the traditional Star Wars gimmicks. And I don't mean gimmicks as bad as it sounds, but because even in The Force Awakens, which was just a fun nostalgia ride, and I love that movie. I would never take anything away from The Force Awakens. That was a fantastic reintroduction of the Star Wars movies. Maybe my favorite movie from 2015, and heart-wrenching, especially the Han Solo stuff.
Yeah.
But this movie was just, it was just like a different level. It was kind of gritty, but not overly dark like DC does with their superhero movies. It wasn't, it wasn't depressing. It was hard and it was gritty, but it wasn't depressing. Even at the end, other than the fact that
every single person dies,
everybody dies, you still get left with that, that message of
hope.
This was the sacrifices that were made.
The last word is hope.
For hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and then we know the story from there on out. I loved it way more than I thought. I was not expecting to enjoy that movie as much as I did. And I mean, I would agree that perhaps these characters aren't on par with memorable characters from the original franchise films. Jen Erso, we're never going to see her again. So there's no way to have a history like you're going to have with like a Han Solo. But just to be this one standalone movie that kind of tells you the pre-story or the story in between, I guess it would technically be in between Rebels.
Yeah.
The cartoon Rebels.
And A New Hope.
Or the animated series and A New Hope. Yeah, to kind of be the go-between story for those. I thought it was great. And I don't watch Rebels, but I understand there was a lot of Easter eggs for fans of Rebels.
Right.
Including Saw
Gerrera.
Yeah. Who is in Rebels. And what did you think of... Because I know that was probably the character you were looking least
hated
forward
him
to.
as much as I thought it would.
So you didn't mind when he died?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was as worthless as he should have been. He should not... They could have spoken of that character and let that be that, not have him show up and do that and have his 5 minutes of whatever.
But he was important to the backstory of Jen Erso.
Was he? I mean, in what way? We know he trained her in some way, that he's one of her best soldiers, but we don't really know...
Yeah, well, he raised her.
That was just that was all rushed. I don't know. We know in like a 15-minute cinema span, he opens up the sewer gate and sees her. Oh, child, come here.
Yeah.
She gets up, is an adult now. She finds him and he dies, and they exchange some words. I don't know what happened. I saw it twice, and I'm still confused of what happened.
He was there to kind of, reinvigorate Jen Erso.
Did she leave him because he went so extreme with his views? Is that what happened there? And what made her bad? Like, what was she in prison for? Why was she a bad person? But they have to throw the small kid in the war there where she saves and make us believe she's a good person. And it was just a lot of spoon-fed information I didn't want.
I think that the reason why she left him is because, she was obviously fighting against the Empire, and as he was. But he, you get the impression that he's more of an extremist than the rebellion is, because the rebellion still tries to be very diplomatic and they try to be, the government of the galaxy. And, he's just an insurgent who's just, blowing stuff up and taking it to the Empire whenever he can. And I think she just wasn't as committed to that. And I think that was probably due to the fact that she knew, deep down, somewhere her dad may be still with the Empire. So I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was a great movie.
I liked it.
It was I think it was the most grown up Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
It was, yeah. And maybe why I don't like it so much.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's that fun, childlike mentality to it. It's just fun. And this movie wasn't fun. It was good. It was well done, well made, but it wasn't fun whatsoever to me.
Which I think this would make a perfect movie for lifelong Star Wars fans who are now, middle age.
Yeah.
So give them something that's a little more gritty and not as hokey in parts as the Star Wars movies can be. And even the cameos I didn't mind. R2-D2,
they were
C-3PO.
good.
Makes sense that they would be on the Yavin base.
Yeah. I mean, K2SO is probably my favorite droid of all time. It's possible.
K2SO was amazing. Alan Tudyk just knocked it out of the park. There were some great scenes in it. I really enjoyed just the opening scene with the Death Troopers.
Yeah.
Because, over time, Stormtroopers have kind of become... And The Force Awakens, they did a nice job of, giving a little more life to Stormtroopers. than in previous Star Wars movies, so you didn't just see them as throwaway.
The first time you see them, that opening scene is almost shot for shot of Saving Private Ryan, the beaches of Normandy coming down, and the soldiers, and it was cool. Yeah.
But to have the Death Troop, I mean, they're evil. Those guys were, and I enjoyed that. There was a lot of this really nailed home or hit home the fact that the Empire is evil, and I don't know. I loved it. I loved the little skirmish there on what was it? Where was it? Jeddah, where the little skirmish happened, where Saul's guys, and then
he knows Jeddah.
Jyn Erso's there, and they all kind of skirmish in the streets. I thought that was really good. The closing, battle,
the final 10 minutes was my favorite part.
Yeah,
for sure.
If my only complaint is, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying, we're never going to see these characters again. Well, you can't say never. You can't say
they do say Felicity Jones has signed up for a multi-picture deal, whatever that means. Maybe flashbacks in the future we have of who knows. Because at first people had speculation that Jyn Erso was Rey's mother and blah blah blah, but of course that can't happen now. But yes, apparently she has a multi-picture deal. It could be just a 5-second flashback scene in the future. Who knows? That's the word.
But I don't think to be as final of an outcome for all these characters as it was, that enough time was given to really get to know them. Because you can do that. The Magnificent Seven did a nice job of establishing all the characters, and you really kind of get to know all the characters. So even in the Dirty Dozen, there's a couple of throwaway characters in the Dirty Dozen, but you kind of get to know them a little more, so you do feel a little more when they perish at the end. I think Cassian and Jyn and K2SO were the only ones that you really felt anything for at the end of this movie.
Yeah. Even Cassian, I didn't, because the first time you see him, he's almost portrayed you as a villain, a bad guy.
Oh, I think he is.
Yeah,
and I think that was another thing I loved about this movie is it really kind of blurred the lines for the rebellion and the Empire. Up to this point, it was totally black and white: the rebellion and the Empire. And this, I loved seeing that. There's stories where you see guys with the rebellion that he murdered a guy in the back alley in cold blood because, he was afraid he was going to give up some information. I enjoy seeing that. It just seems a little more, I don't want to use the word real because it's a science fiction movie, but it does add a little realism to it.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, are the evil guys evil because the good ones say they're evil? Really think about it. What makes them evil?
Yeah.
Just saying. Just think about it.
But it's possible that you can have bad guys doing good things.
Yeah.
Because Han Solo's always been portrayed as a scoundrel.
Yeah.
He was the lovable scoundrel.
Vader thinks what he's doing is right. He thinks that's what he's doing.
Does he?
I think so. Yeah, once he's convinced by the Emperor that the dark side is the stronger, which it is, that's a fact, the more powerful way.
I think, I do agree with that, but I think at some point, Vader, regardless of right and wrong, he doesn't see it. He's just driven by revenge. And I think that's what the driving force of Vader is through all of that. He doesn't care. I think he's so broken physically and mentally that I don't care. I'm just going to hurt as many people as I can.
Yeah. What would have happened if Obi-Wan didn't pretty much annihilate Anakin? What would happen then? If we had an Anakin Skywalker that was never a Darth Vader, but he just became ultimate and just physically powerful, I don't know how that would change things.
I hope he would have been recast.
I'm sure there's fan fiction somewhere.
First of all, a whiny Hayden Christensen.
That's funny.
Running around.
Hey, speaking of Obi-Wan, I saw an old interview today from 1978, or after the first Star Wars came out, shortly after. It was an interview with Alec Guinness. I've never seen him as non-Obi-Wan.
Really?
That was a shock. Didn't know he had a hairpiece the whole time.
Oh, well,
I had no idea he had a horseshoe.
He was in a lot of movies.
I've never seen. Yeah, they gave the whole list of stuff I've never seen before, but I've never seen him in his natural habitat.
Yeah, you should go back and watch some of the the Hammer films that he's in and stuff with
Peter Cushing. That's funny.
What did you think about that? A lot's been made about that.
I told you this off the mic, but the very first time we saw this, now we were at a lot of things in my mind. We saw it at a pretty awkward angle.
And you were about to get married in less than 24 hours.
That's true. But I had no idea. This may sound stupid looking back at it. I had no idea. I knew, of course, that Peter Cushing died, 20, 25 years ago. But I had no idea how they did that because I couldn't tell it was CGI from the angle I was watching. It looked like a normal person to me. It looked like Peter Cushing was there talking to me with new lines, and I was so confused about it. In the second viewing, I had a much better direct-on view, saw it in 3D, and so it was much clearer. that it was just very highly advanced CGI. But yeah, the first time I had no idea, and I had no problem with it.
I didn't mind it either. Like, people are like, oh, it's disrespectful.
No, I don't think so at all.
I don't think so either. I mean, that's a character.
Yeah.
That's not, they're not saying, hey, we brought this guy back.
Yeah.
They brought the character back. Mm-hmm. And they used CGI to make it happen. So, K2SO really wasn't
a real person, right?
Standing beside them the whole time, right? I mean, everything with him wasn't a practical effect.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of CGI in the Star Wars movies. So we can't. I mean, the fact that they did that to bring that character back. Now, if they were going to do, we're going to do a 2-hour movie about Grand Moff Tarkin. Okay, that would be a little much. But to do it for what they did for that movie, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought he looked better than Princess Leia at the end.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of times where it did look like I was playing Mass Effect.
Yeah.
It reminded me. There was one shot where he's like looking straight on. And I'm like, wow, this looks just like a scene out of Mass Effect.
Yeah. But to show you how good it was, my wife, I can see that on here now. So my wife watches it with me, and she had no idea that wasn't a real person. I lean over and whisper, he died almost 30 years ago. She's like, oh. And she said if I wouldn't have said that up to that point, she would have no idea that was not a real person.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So,
it's all about where your mind takes you.
Yeah.
I think people going in knowing no idea who Grand Moff Tarkin is or Peter Cushing or what that character means would just accept that with its surroundings as a normal actor and a person. I think that's... But we know that and see, wait a minute, and we look for the imperfections, we find it. But it was so well done otherwise.
I thought it was too. I mean, it was... it's kind of... I guess it's probably the same people behind it that... When was the first time they did it? The first time I remember that was... and it's all recent, but in Ant-Man. Mm-hmm. Michael Douglas is a much younger Michael Douglas at the beginning of Ant-Man.
But you see it like, wow, how do they...
And it looked great. And it's probably easier to do when you have the actual person there.
Right, yeah.
When they did it with Tony Stark.
Oh, man, in Civil War. That was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That was insane. I was just thrown back.
A very young Robert Downey Jr.
I always wanted to see Chances Are in theaters. It felt like I was.
Yeah, it kind of was. And what's cool about that, in neither case, it's not like they, grabbed a scene from an old movie and just reworked it into those two films, Ant-Man and Civil War. I mean, they used that same technology.
Yeah.
And then really put it on display here. Did you mind the fact that there were like the little cameos throughout?
No, I didn't mind.
The two bad guys from Tatooine.
From the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah. It was a good throwback.
I know what's about to happen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go on to Tatooine.
Yeah. See, were you supposed to know going in? Because I had no clue whatsoever. I'm sure I could have done research and known that, but I had no idea. We all knew it was between episode 3 and episode 4, but I had no idea time-wise when that was. And that's, what is that, I guess an 18-year stretch between episode 3 and 4?
Yeah.
So I had no idea that it would be pretty much right before episode 4 once the movie ended. I had no idea.
I had no idea either. I didn't know it was going to be like that. And then when it ends, I'm like, oh, wow. You could literally put in episode 4 right now and pick the story right back up.
So I guess when the movie started, how old is Jenna supposed to be? 20-ish?
I would say between... probably a little older, like between 25 and 30.
Okay. So you think so whenever the movie starts, this is still before episode 3 then? Between episode 3, Luke is born, and episode 4, he's 18, 19-ish?
Right.
So when the movie begins of Rogue One, whenever Jen's a small girl, she was around 10 at the time.
Right.
So maybe at the beginning, that may be right whenever episode 3 ends.
Could
when
be.
They begin the...
Because episode 3 is when they first show, like, that's the big reveal at the end of episode 3 is, the Death Star is coming.
Yeah.
And so that would make sense because they're trying to create the Death Star.
Right, yeah.
And to get back to what I said earlier, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this was seeing, because we always see the Force in these movies, and if you just go by the movies, now I know in books and video games, and
but those are
animated
no more
series.
canon unless animated series. No more
Aren't they
canon.
bringing Thrawn back though?
Did you see? No, he's already back. Did you see the newest trailer for Rebels? It's pretty crazy. I'll show it to you later on.
Is he in it?
Well, he is. He's already been in there.
Yeah,
but you've got to see it.
Are they bringing in somebody else back?
You'll see. I'll give you. It's like a 90-second clip.
Is it Darth Maul?
You'll see. I'll show you.
Is it Darth Maul?
It is. Yeah. And it's Obi-Wan Darth Maul fight
again,
like a rematch.
But
and it's canon now.
So how do they explain him die? So he didn't die?
No. In the canon storyline, Darth Maul is still alive, or at least he did survive that first match with Obi-Wan.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Because if they ever want to go back and use
people
Darth
love.
Maul
I mean,
again.
the prequels, people hate that, but people love Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Oh,
It's
I
awesome.
love Darth Maul.
He's great.
He was great.
Yeah.
I liked him better than Toad from the X-Men.
Yeah, me too. Or
But
the Headless Horseman. Yeah.
But to see the Force, how the Force relates to people who aren't Force sensitive per se, or Jedi, or their midichlorian count is very high. To see the Force as kind of a religion in this galaxy, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And because I guess Jeddah was the last Jedi temple was there,
yeah.
and you even see the remains of one of the Jedi temples, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like you see one of the statues, like a Jedi statue in the desert at the beginning of the movie. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. I'll give it 1. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Mrs. Doubtfire gets a 5. You see the kind of level we're going for here?
Yeah, that's not
I
bad.
love Mrs. Doubtfire. She got a 5 out of 10.
I know. That's not bad. So, yeah, we go see Rogue One.
Yeah, that happens.
And then the very next day you get married.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And it was a great wedding.
And we left Rogue One and then left from the theater and drove across the street to my rehearsal dinner for the wedding.
Your rehearsal dinner.
Yes, the next day was the wedding itself that happened. Was awesome.
And then it's off to the honeymoon.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you just tell me, because we haven't spoken a lot.
Not too much, no.
In all fairness, this is the first time we've seen each other since your wedding.
It's true, yeah. It's true.
So by design,
Yeah.
I wanted to hear your stories for the first time, for the most part, on the air.
I won't bore with the details, but it was amazing. If you have a chance to ever go to Hawaii, I promise you do it. I did not want to leave.
Well, one of your concerns, you were a little apprehensive about flying that
Oh,
long.
for sure. So I've flown once in my life 22 years ago. In 1995, I went to Washington, D.C., and that was an hour and a half, maybe 2-hour flight. I did that once, 22 years ago. And this time, it was a 10-hour flight across the ocean. So kind of afraid of that, kind of scared, but I was good. Once things got up, the first 2 hours was kind of terrifying. So we had to fly from Nashville to Chicago, and that plane was pretty small, just like a single aisle in there. I mean, every single dip and turn. With your eyes closed, you could feel which way you're turning in the plane. And that I had some Dramamine for some motion sickness in case that happened, so I was good, totally fine. And that was kind of scary because every dip and fall, you feel that. And when turbulence happens, I had no idea it was that extreme. You feel the plane free fall and drop, and then you almost feel the engine kick back in. It's pretty scary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that happened. We'll go to Chicago to Hawaii, and it was smooth, man. We had it was a 777 was the size of it. They had full dinners and movies, and it was fantastic.
Did you get up and walk around?
Yeah. They didn't tell me to or tell anyone to,
You
but
should.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to use the bathroom at least a few times every.
How was that?
It
Was it like Tommy Boy?
much smaller than Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
Like he turns around and flies. I couldn't turn around. There's no turning.
Yeah.
I just had to elbow it and back out of it.
Yeah, I've never gone to the bathroom on a plane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had to multiple. I mean, that long of a flight, you have to. But it was it was something else.
So you land in Hawaii.
Landed in
You're
Hawaii.
Maui.
Yeah, and it's so I've never. That's the farthest I've been from my home in my whole life, without a doubt. And it's just so weird to kind of be in this bubble, and you're there for a while, rumbling around, rumbling. You have no real conception of where you are, time and space wise, and you land in this tropical island, and you're 4,000 miles from your home. It's just a weird out of body experience. And then finally, it hit me where I was, and we just ran around the island itself. It was awesome. That's all I can say. It was great.
Did you go to a luau?
We did. Went to a luau. You know the details. I like the highlight points you're hitting.
Yeah.
There's so much I can say, but you want the highlights. I got you.
Yeah.
Luau was good. We go there. They have this. Luau's the one we went to is very historical. Gives the history of the islands and the Polynesian culture and things like that. So when they have this full roasted pig they've been cooking under the ground for a day or two, they bring it out. It's a big ceremony, and they cut it up, and fantastic fruit. The fruit there, man, the pineapple. I had sores on my gums. I had so much fruit while I was there from the acidic
Really?
acid. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sores on my gums. I had so much, but it was so good. Everything there. They had like farmers markets, avocados is almost as big as a soccer ball. It looked freakishly big. The
So
whole place is fantastic.
Did you stay in a hotel, or were you staying at a resort?
A resort, and it was on the beach side there. So you walk down to your room
Right.
and go to the beach, and it was
That's
awesome.
nice.
It was a resort, and it had special amenities to it. We didn't take part in those because those were an additive on top of that.
Right.
They had massages for $250 a person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're there. You're there, what,
10 days.
10 days?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that 10 days, did you ever, because this is always something like nobody ever talks about when they're on vacation, especially
Yeah.
for a long time. Did you cook,
Yeah. So in
or
the
did you go out?
Yeah, in the resort,
every
we had a
night?
full kitchen. We had a fridge in there, a stove, an oven, a dishwasher, a washer and dryer in there. It was like an apartment, like a good sized apartment in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first night we get there, everything there, by the way, is overly priced because they've got to ship every single thing into those small islands.
Yeah.
And the nearest land from Hawaii is not very close.
Nope.
So everything gets shipped in from far, far away.
Everything comes from Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the closest.
Or California, I
Yeah,
guess.
closest place to it, yeah. So everything, we go there that night. We come in. We go to the local restaurant on the resort.
Mm-hmm.
We have one adult beverage apiece.
Right.
And we split a thing of nachos. Okay?
$1,000.
$65. So we realize, oh,
Wow.
okay, we're going to go to the grocery store tomorrow and get a lot of food, and we'll eat out
That
every
probably
now.
wasn't cheaper.
No, not too much. The cheapest loaf of bread, the cheapest was $7.99 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you popped your can there. No Gamers Corner this week. Not yet.
Yeah, no Gamers Corner.
Come later on. But yeah, the cheapest loaf of bread, $7.99.
Wow.
Let me tell you what the Hawaiians do love, though.
I know what you're about to say.
They, much like myself, love some canned meat, specifically Spam.
And this is a fascinating story why they love Spam so much.
So I asked a local about this. Going to and from the luau, we expected to drink a little bit because they had an open bar. So for the first time in my life, I got an Uber. And that was fun to have an Uber experience.
Oh, I did an Uber in Florida.
Was that your first one?
That was my first one,
Nice.
not my wife's, but that was
my first Uber. So I asked them about this. We're making small talk more on the way back because we had some more drinks.
Yeah.
But I had small talk, asking many things, such as why does the island as a whole love Spam so much? And they told me after World War II, they had the MREs, the meals ready to eat, and all kinds of canned meats and mystery meats dropped for the soldiers here, the U.S. soldiers on the soil. But as soon as the war was over, the soldiers left, but the food in the cans did not. So it's kind of become
And they're still there.
the exact same ones. It's kind of part of the culture now. The Spam culture is huge there. I took a picture and showed you.
All the multi-flavored Spam. Like, you go to the grocery store here. I don't know. I haven't bought Spam since
I
the
looked when I
80s.
came back. I was trying to see
But-
the difference, and it was like maybe they have Spam Light, maybe like a spicy Spam.
Right.
Maybe 3 varieties here.
But not there.
At least 30 different flavors of Spam.
And they're all $5 a can.
Yeah, they are.
When you send me that picture,
Yeah.
that's what I noticed the most.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's no Spam available for less than $5 a can.
Right. And they had, 5-star hotels with garnish and sushi and things with Spam-infused dishes. Like, very nice hotels and restaurants had the fancy Spam dishes. It was crazy.
Would you go back to Hawaii?
Oh, without a doubt. I'll
Yeah.
go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just on that, I think.
But would you live in Hawaii?
I asked about that as well.
Yeah.
To one of the taxi drivers because most people go there and fall in love with it. The air is fantastic. Your skin, if you have any issues, is healed up. It's a constant 78 degrees there, 81 tops.
With the breeze off the ocean.
Exactly. I'm very hot natured, and that was not even close to warm. I didn't drop. That's what I told after the end of 10 days. I told Cassie, I haven't sweated once since I've been here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We're in a tropical environment. I never sweated. It's just a fantastic place to be. So I asked the Uber driver, give me a roundabout idea of how much it would cost to live here. And she tells me that everyone on the island, no exceptions, unless you're some kind of rich person, everyone has 2 jobs for the most part. You have your nice normal day job and makes the real money. At nighttime, you do an Uber or you're a waiter or something like that. She said she rented a 2-bedroom apartment with 700 square feet. Pretty small spot.
Mm-hmm.
A 700 square foot apartment with 2 bedrooms for $2,000 a month is what the rent was on that. Wow. Before utilities, before everything else. She spent $2,000 a month to rent a 700 square foot apartment.
So it's a nice place to visit,
Yes.
but you don't want to live there.
Not only that, but you're paying $8 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to live there.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
And to go to a football game, you have to leave the state
Unless
and fly 10 hours.
they used to have the Pro Bowl there, if you remember.
That's
In Hawaii.
true.
Do they still? I'm sure they still do.
Oh, wait a minute. Didn't they have the Honolulu Bowl, too?
Yeah. So they have the University of Hawaii. The Warriors are there. And
Yeah.
imagine that. They're
To see an NFL game,
Yeah, there you go.
you'd have to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? I never thought about that. The Hawaii Warriors, it's an actual NCAA football team. If you play them, you go to Hawaii. Wow.
That's true.
That's kind of crazy.
Are there any other colleges?
Not big like that. That's the only university.
Yeah. I guess that is the only university.
Yeah.
I was
They're
trying to
small.
think, do they just concentrate with the cross-island
It's
rivals?
possible. Yeah. But it was, I recommend it highly. Maui is where we stayed. I would recommend that.
If
The
you
other-
went back, would you try one of the other islands?
I don't think so. I've read about those and even talked to locals there, and they told us what it was about, even in a positive way, and I still wasn't sold. But
Yeah.
they said Honolulu, like Oahu, which is the main. When people think of a big island of Hawaii, they say Honolulu is where that is.
Right.
So that's in Oahu, I believe, and they describe that as like a New York City or Las Vegas next to a beach. And some people that may be an appeal too, but not me.
Yeah.
I would want those
Is there
two.
gambling?
I believe they have casinos there.
Oh, then that sounds like it'd be a fantastic
But I think they're on
vacation.
Maui as well. I think they were, yeah. What's crazy
There were
about Maui?
casinos on Maui and you didn't go?
I'm pretty sure. The money, man.
Well, that's true.
There was some money spent
Yeah,
there.
but you
Just
coulda-
from living, it was money spent.
You could have gone and won like 3 cans of Spam.
That's true. That's true. But the whole island itself is smaller, mass-wise, land-wise, than the county we live in right now.
Maybe that's what the slot machines are like there.
Yeah.
Instead of money dropping out, it just drops stuff that you need.
Just dropped pineapples and
Yeah, pineapples, toothpaste.
but it was so good. I, much like our ESO, our friend here at the ESO network, Mike Gordon, I kind of fell in love with that tiki culture. I can understand the appeal of the tiki now. I'm serious.
Really?
I fell in love with it.
Well, that's cool.
It's so cool. They hand carve the stuff and it's so intricate. And I met some hula girls at the luau.
Oh, really?
I had pictures taken by my wife, so it was safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, "Go get your picture." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I haven't seen any of these
Oh,
pictures.
really? I'll show you later.
Oh, okay.
So that's my inner wrap up, and as much as I can wrap it up, my
Did it make
Hawaii.
you like The Rock more?
A little bit. It's funny. I wore one Tennessee Titan shirt there, being a fan of the team, and people there love it because of Marcus Mariota, our quarterback, is from Hawaii.
Oh, that's right.
And they see that, and I got thumbs up and go Titans, and clearly they weren't from Tennessee, but people love the Titans in Hawaii.
Oh, that's cool.
That's funny, right?
That makes sense.
You think of Hawaiian NFL players, not too many really.
No, they have. They have Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
But even celebrities from Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's not a lot.
Yeah.
There's Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh yeah, that is.
I'm pretty sure he's not from Hawaii.
But he
though.
lives there currently, or at least in the show.
Did you see Dog the Bounty Hunter?
I didn't see Dog. No, didn't see that.
The president.
Right, he was there the same time I was. Different island, but he was there.
President Obama was, I guess, in Honolulu
Uh-huh.
while you were in Maui.
Because I read up on this, and he loves shave ice, which to me it sounds weird to say shave instead of shaved.
Yeah.
But the Hawaiians call it shave ice. It's like a different way they make it. It's fantastic. Shave money. But look up shave ice. It's good. It's like kind of like a snow cone, but better.
What do they put in it?
It's the same stuff. They have a big ass block of ice, and they actually have like a razor that kind of shaves it.
Yeah.
And it's this nice little fairy sprinkles on top.
And then they put
Just ice.
cocaine in it.
Yeah, pretty much. You can have an adult shave ice if you want.
Oh, there you go.
The alcohol flows there. It's not cheap, but it's a lot of alcohol.
Well, they don't have any money. So
And they card no one.
Booze their troubles
Just a heads
away.
up. You can get an air flight to Hawaii. You're probably 15 and get drunk.
Well, I mean, not a lot of people are coming in to check up on things.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
But everything there is
from
so
the
just
federal
like
government.
Everything there is just so like people are just calm. Like you hear in the South, we're all nice and calm and mild mannered. That's nothing compared to Hawaii, man. People are just like whatever.
They're chill, very chill culture.
Whatever. Yeah, it was cool.
Whatever.
So I plan to go back. I mean, money wise, it may be a long time. And I have
Next
a lot,
month.
And now that I'm not afraid of flying anymore, there's the whole world to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
go to
That's my
Canada?
biggest thing from that is I took out the fear of flying.
Yeah.
Like I want to go somewhere now. I want to do a quick jaunt to Florida for an hour and a half or so. Was it an hour and a half flight? 2 hours?
Yeah, it's about
maybe?
90 minutes.
Oh yeah.
From Nashville to Orlando.
That's
it's
what's so
about
weird
90.
about my brain still has trouble comprehending that. Like an hour and 8 minutes from Nashville to Chicago. That would take what? 11 hours if we drove that? 10 hours?
Well, yeah, I mean, to Orlando even is
11,
with
12,
good traffic
yeah.
between 11 and 12.
Yeah.
That's good traffic. If you're traveling the day after Christmas,
Yeah.
it's 13.
So in your mind comprehends that, and then you think it took almost 10 hours to fly to Hawaii.
Right.
That drive, if that were possible. Good God.
I know. You went a long, long way.
Yeah, 5 hours past California, which I never thought I would make it that far.
Oh, how was the whole airport experience for you?
It was good, yeah.
Taking your belt off,
Yeah,
taking your shoes off.
It was fun, yeah.
Did you go through the body scanner?
Yeah, I do the whole thing, put the hands up and shoes off. I mean, there was so much stuff. We packed for 10 days, so we had a lot of things. And if you have a laptop, you got to take that out specifically. There could be explosives in there. You've got to take your belt off, your shoes off, every iPad, every piece. We got in a little bit of trouble on the way back. My wife had some bug spray in there, and she forgot about that. And that was metal and some kind of. You can have nothing like that in your bag. And
No, you can't.
Took her to the side and started ripping her stuff out of her bag and going through that. And like, oh man.
Then they just threw it away.
Well, they ask in the most TSA way. How do they describe it? They said, "Do you want to voluntarily expose of this?" That's what it was. Like it was something bad, but it was a can of off bug spray.
Yeah, security is a lot. I even noticed, even at Disney, there's a lot more metal detectors than
Yeah.
there used to be. They
I'm
search
sure.
every bag.
Yeah.
Going through Universal, I was in the queue for the new King Kong ride and got all the way through, and the metal detector was right before you got on the ride or went through the ride. And when I walked through, I had a lighter in my pocket. And it set the metal detector off. And I was like, can I just throw it away? He's like, if you want, or you can take it all the way back to the lockers. I'm like, I'll just throw it away. So
Yeah. So that was my trip. What about yours to Disney World?
It was fun. We'll talk about that. We'll take a break and then we'll come back.
That's how this works. I forgot.
Yeah. We'll talk about Disney World and something very very exciting that I got to see at Disney World.
Okay.
That not everyone gets to see. Mm-hmm. We'll do it
next.
There's a fair chance you don't like the news, and I get that. I'm Buzz Burbank, and I do a different kind of newscast I think you will like. I tell stories, true stories, because when you view it the right way, there's nothing more amazing than real life. I cover most of the stuff the big media outlets cover, but often with a different approach, richer in detail, and with a perspective that ties it all together so we have some idea of what it all means. I deliver stories that'll make you laugh, make you cry, and make you angry, because that is the nature of life, and because you cannot be a better citizen unless you understand and feel the news. I also don't cover some of the useless stories you'll find elsewhere, and do cover real stories the rest of the media somehow managed to avoid. With my nearly 40 years' experience in broadcast journalism and a love of writing, this is a news program that's custom made for you. Buzz Burbank News and Comment is now a weekly show, new each Thursday and available free on iTunes, SoundCloud, and several other platforms, and at buzzburbank.com. In addition to the other shows you enjoy here on the ESO Broadcast Network, thank you for adding me to your playlist as well.
Girls, what y'all trying to do? Tell me what you're trying to do. 24-karat magic in the air.
So welcome back to your catch-up episode of the Adam and JP Show.
Yes, we're catching up.
If you're just now joining us, we've been gone for nearly a month.
It's true. Feels weird, eh?
If you've just found the show, well, you haven't missed anything.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Good time to jump on.
Yeah.
Season 6 of the Adam and JP Show begins now.
I think 7.
Is it season 7?
I think it's season 7. This is our season 7 premiere. And no one died.
Not yet.
Well, no one in this room has died.
Right.
The same can't be said for. I watched the Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds
Oh, how was that? That's so crazy.
documentary,
What crazy timing.
Bright Lights, starring Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds.
Was that a one-time documentary or like a series, like a show?
No,
they're trying
it's
to
just documentary.
Okay.
And it was done around the time, who knows how long they were shooting. There was footage of her and her dad when he was dying in 2010.
Oh, wow.
They had footage of that. I don't think this documentary crew was, I think that's something that she might have shot. But this is all like two years ago, probably up to last spring. Summer. There's parts in that where she was leaving for England to start reading the script and going through rehearsals for The Force Awakens.
Oh, really?
So
Wow. That was a while ago.
that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably, but then it also goes up to the SAG Awards from last year when Debbie Reynolds won like the Lifetime Achievement Award or something. It was interesting. I mean, when you watch that, you see how symbiotic almost their relationship was. So when Carrie Fisher passed away, it makes total sense that Debbie Reynolds couldn't handle that. Plus, she was in bad health anyways. So, her health was failing during that documentary. And so it was probably just too much for her because they lived next to each other. They were very close, very close. And I don't know. We all know that Carrie Fisher was had kind of a wicked sense of humor and was a bit eclectic in her way. So that's kind of shown in this. You know who directed this?
Who's that?
Fisher Stevens. Does that name sound familiar?
No.
Do you remember Ben from Short Circuit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Like Steve Guttenberg's partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
And he was in Short Circuit too. He was the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he directed this
Really?
documentary.
I've got to see his face. Let me Google that.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. He played he was a guy from India that worked with Steve Guttenberg.
Weird. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't. He had an Indian accent.
Right, yeah.
But
yeah.
there's a scene where he asks him, he goes, "Where are you
Yes.
from?" And he's like, "I'm from New Jersey."
I just never knew his full name. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was the director
That's
of
funny.
Bright Lights.
What has he been doing the past 30 years?
Well, he did the...
He's only 53 now?
Yeah.
He was like 20 years old when Short Circuit came out. That's crazy. Wow.
He was really young.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh.
And he is the star of Short Circuit
Yeah,
too.
he is. He has the little toys and all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's him and Johnny Five roaming around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, on HBO's part, this was supposed to come out, I think, this summer. And so after they passed away, they obviously bumped it up. But this documentary debuted, I think, at Sundance last year.
Oh, really?
So it's not like, it was something that was thrown together to cash in.
I was wondering because it was like the day after that all happened. I saw the preview for that. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, if you want to see it, I mean, it gives you some real insight into their history and their relationship. Like, I had no idea that for most of her life, Debbie Reynolds was buying Hollywood costumes and props and memorabilia to open a museum.
Really?
And they could never, like, for years and years and years, decades, she bought this stuff, like, went into debt to buy memorabilia for movies. She had the dress from, like, the famous white Marilyn Monroe dress.
Really?
She had that. And she could never find a business partner to partner up with her to open a museum.
Wow.
To show all this. I mean, just, she had the costumes, like, all the Rat Pack costumes.
Really?
From, I forget which movie it was, but one of the Rat Pack films. She had all the costumes, like everybody's costume from that.
Huh.
And just tons and tons of stuff. Could never find a financial backer to help her open this museum. So I think in 2011, she had to start auctioning it. She had like 3 auctions where she got rid of the majority of her Hollywood memorabilia.
That's sad.
It was sad. And she's, like, the interviews that she did, and of course they show the interviews that they conducted, but it's a documentary, so you see what led up to the interviews and that sort of thing. And it's interesting to see, and my wife pointed this out, that, and it comes from that whole MGM, like, raised from on the studio contract player lifestyle, that in her MGM days, that she always wanted to be on if she thought anyone was going to see it. Like, she could be frail and barely able to walk around, and then just as soon as she sat down for the interview, she's Debbie Reynolds.
Really?
And she's given it 110%, and you couldn't know that there was anything wrong with her, even though she was barely able to walk and barely able to. She would talk out of her head a little bit sometimes.
Now, was she wearing a wig most of the time? Because I thought I saw clips of it where she had some short hair.
Yeah.
Not that famous golden hive she usually had.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And it was, I was very touched by, obviously, Carrie Fisher passing away. That's one of the icons from my childhood, which we're going to see more and more of this as we, get older and they get older. It's going to happen. It's nature. But some of the, I didn't know that Carrie Fisher and Kevin Smith were so close.
Really?
I mean, I knew she was in.
I didn't know they were either.
I knew she was in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, but I didn't know that kind of cultivated a relationship. If you go back and listen to his Smodcast from last week, he talks about her and talks about their relationship, and the fact that when they did Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, Jason Mewes was still, having problems with drugs, and she kind of counseled him.
Really?
Those 2 or 3 days on the set, and kind of encouraged, obviously, with her history of antidepressants and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a very touching tribute from if you go back and listen to Smodcast, I think last week, that Kevin Smith did to her.
Really?
It's really, I thought it was, he's a weird guy. He's nasty and kind of in your face and a bit perverted.
Yeah.
But then says the sweetest things. Some of the sweetest things I've heard in podcasting has come out of his mouth about people. Same thing when Alan Rickman died.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's worked with a lot of people. You don't see him as like a top tier guy, but as far as talent, he's brushed a lot of shoulders.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Have you watched Yoga Hosers yet?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's on Netflix though.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
No, I watched Civil War again instead.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, I got that for Christmas.
Nice.
On Blu-ray.
Nice.
And I've watched it, since then.
Good call.
Oh, what a good movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the villain story more.
That's
the
good.
Second go around too.
Yeah,
I guess knowing it and then realizing and watching that second viewing, seeing how it plays into the overarching story. My dogs liked it too.
Yeah.
I love Iron Man. I love Pitbull. So yeah, what else was it? Oh, the Blu-ray stuff on Civil War.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes stuff is hilarious.
Really?
Because you get to see like the green screen stuff they shot for the airport fight, and half the time they're not wearing full costumes.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Robert Downey Jr. with kind of an Iron Man harness and cargo pants on.
Really?
Like running, because so much of it.
I guess the whole time he was in his Iron Man suit, right? So you don't see his pants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they only had to shoot, and probably everything from the waist down was CGI.
That's so crazy. There's stuff. I mean, I think it's pretty obviously CGI sometimes, but I see those clips and those scenes and stuff I never imagined was ever CGI. It actually is.
Yeah, and then sometimes like the chest piece that he's wearing has a light that's on in it.
Yeah,
and then sometimes it doesn't. Like it's just a hole. that they go in and put all those effects in afterwards.
Wow.
Spider-Man, like especially sometimes it's clearly, he's in the costume for the scene. A lot of times he's wearing a full like motion capture suit.
Really?
Yeah. Even with something over, I guess to capture maybe his facial expression.
Yeah, because his face is moving now in the mask. It's an expression
so
show.
he's almost wearing like a virtual reality headset that kind of hangs over his face. And he's shooting a lot of stuff just in a motion capture suit.
Wow.
Not even in a Spider-Man suit. That's all in that behind the scenes stuff.
That's crazy.
That's Civil War.
That's cool, though. But you couldn't really notice. You couldn't tell.
You can't. You can't tell when it's... I mean, obviously some of it looks, computer generated.
Yeah.
But I don't know when he's wearing the suit and when he's not really wearing the suit.
Wow.
But it kind of and he even has some fun with it. What's the actor's name?
Wow.
Tom Collins. That's not right. I think that's a drink.
Yeah, I'll think of it. Man, that's bothering.
Yeah, he's having some fun with it. And he's like, this is the fantastic Spider-Man suit that I get to wear for this movie.
Tom Holland.
Yeah. And it's just a motion capture suit.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we went to Disney for New Year's. New Year's at Disney. Kind of something that seemed fun. The way this... How much time do we have?
We have enough.
Yeah. I'm going to save... There's a fantastic story I have to tell you about the Hilton Resort.
Okay.
And the Hilton timeshare meeting that I went to.
Yeah.
And just had the hardest sell ever put on.
You said you're saving that for the next show?
I'm going to save that for the next show.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's just kind of a standalone story.
Uh-huh.
But the way this happened was I was contacted by Hilton because I'm part of their rewards program, with like traveling and stuff when we go to conventions or whatever. So I joined the Hilton Rewards program a couple of years ago. And so they contacted me back in the summer and were like, hey, we want you to come down and blah, 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 and blah, 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 wherever you want to go. We're in Las Vegas, Orlando, California, any of the resorts. And it was a timeshare pitch. And it was the whole thing. You just have to take 2 hours out of your day and listen to our pitch and then go back to your vacation. And I was like, okay, this kind of sounds like I know what I'm getting into. I know that it's going to be a miserable experience at the actual timeshare thing.
Yeah.
But if we, cultivate this great vacation around that, it's only 2 hours. What's the harm? So we got like 3 nights or 4 nights. I guess it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 nights at one of the Hilton resorts in Orlando for like $100.
Really?
I mean, it was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. That was a fantastic part. So that kind of cultivated us. Well, okay, if we can do that, then how do we go to Disney? And so we ended up doing, then going to one of the Disney resorts on Thursday. So we're down there for 7 days. Yeah, because we came back on Monday. Went down on Monday, came back on Monday. And we just did the Disney thing that we've always done. But what was going to be fun was it was New Year's Eve. What I didn't really realize, and even though everybody said you're going the busiest week in Orlando, I'm like, it can't be that bad. Wasn't that bad at Disney, but the day that we were at Universal, there were a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah, because Diagon Alley at Universal is kind of close quarters to begin with, and then you shove 35,000 people into Diagon Alley at one time. It's a lot.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So Universal doesn't do as good a job maintaining crowds as Disney does. Because at Disney, we never waited more than 20 minutes for a ride. Now, we were using our fast passes and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so I do the timeshare with Hilton, which was absolutely horrible. Just a bad experience. But I knew it was going to happen. So I don't have anybody to blame but myself. I got us into this.
Is it 2 hours like you were at a meeting room and they're showing you pictures? And
Do you just want me to tell you the story now?
No, I mean just that pitch there. I know.
No, okay.
The other story deserves more time. It does.
Yeah.
But give me how the actual pitch happened.
Here's how it goes.
Because I never heard this story yet.
Okay, I'll tell you the story. Here's how it goes. So they're like, okay, so you have to schedule the time, way in advance. Like back in the summer, we're scheduled for this pitch.
Wow.
When we're going down on Monday. I was like, let's schedule it for 8 a.m. Tuesday morning. We go, we do it. It's over. Rest of the week is ours. And my wife was like, okay, that sounds good. And they're like everybody that's on vacation, everybody that's staying at the resort has to go to the pitch.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that's part of the plan because it was just me and my wife, which was fine. But I think there were people in there with kids. So the kind of sales pitch they do, if you got kids running around, it just kind of makes you want to say, yeah, what can I sign? Just sign me up for something. I just want to get out of here. I think it's part of the psychological, salesman, pitch.
Yeah.
To have you and your kids in there while they're trying to do this. So 8 o'clock Tuesday morning, they take us over, or actually we have to go over to one of the other Hilton resorts in Orlando. And we go in, and if you've ever done a timeshare, here's what I'm going to say. If you can stand it, and you can, know that they're going to put the screws to you, but you can maintain a no and keep saying no, you'll escape without, signing up for something you don't want and enjoy some free time in a hotel, which is what we did. So we go there at 8 o'clock, and the first thing is they're like, okay, you're going to be meeting with Craig. All right, Craig sounds nice. There's a continental breakfast upstairs waiting for you, so you have to go in, sign in, and then you go up, to the meeting rooms. And there was a continental breakfast. Like, we could see it. And I'm like, oh, there's fruit and coffee and soft drinks. And so me and my wife just go over, and we're like, okay, helping ourselves. Because they told us to, kind of. And then Craig shows up, and he's like, I'm looking for Patrick. Is there a Patrick here? And I'm like, yeah, that's us. And of course, I'm like eating a bagel and got coffee. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? We're here. He goes, I was supposed to bring you here. I was supposed to bring you to the breakfast. That's how this starts out. I bring you to the breakfast and offer you breakfast. And I was like, sorry, Craig. They told us downstairs that there was a continental breakfast. Yeah. So that's one thing I love. It's an intercontinental breakfast.
Yeah, the old IC.
So we don't start off with Craig on the best foot to begin with.
Was he mad about it?
Like, he wasn't happy.
Really?
Like, he wasn't happy. Like, it's like in his mind, he's a salesman. Like, in his mind, there's a procedure that you go through. Yeah. And I know, because, I tried to sell cars for a month.
Right.
And before I actually, set one foot on the sales room floor to be a car salesman, they give you like 25 days of training and that sort of stuff.
So you were a car salesman for 5 days.
Well, no. I actually tried to sell for a month.
Okay.
But the month previous to that, I had to go through all their training.
Okay, I got you.
And that is the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
I've thought about that.
That was the worst, because it just takes a special person, and I'm not that person. And I don't know if special is the word to use. Yeah. It kind of takes a scoundrel. And I'm not, for the most part, that kind of scoundrel. So I think we threw Craig's pitch off. I think we, disrupted the ebb and flow of how he sells his timeshares. And he's like, well, okay, well, come on back. So he takes you, and you're in this one huge room, and everybody's at a desk with the salesperson. And so they start asking you questions like, how often do you vacation? Where do you like to go? They ask you question after question after question. And when I went to that car salesman training, like, the first rule is you befriend your victim, and you're their best friend. You are their best friend for 3/4 of the time you're with them. It's, can I get you anything? And you laugh at their jokes, and you tell them jokes. And I got to tell you, Craig was like a 1950s Lake Tahoe comedian. Because, we sit down, and the first thing Craig says is, where are you from? And my wife says, we're from Tennessee. And he says, I could tell you were from Tennessee because you're the only 10 I see.
Wow.
And I'm like,
he's got 50 jokes for every state, huh? Or one joke for every state?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because from that on, it was just a barrage of like puns and bad jokes. Stuff like, I was a garbage collector for a while. It was a great job. $10 an hour and all you could eat. Like, I was waiting for a rim shot at some point. I was a shoe salesman, but I felt like a heel.
Wow. Those are old jokes.
These are jokes he actually did.
These are like popsicle stick jokes you get in the grocery aisle.
Yeah.
Wow.
What did he say? I sold donuts for a while, but it didn't leave me feeling whole.
Man.
And then the best was...
He must be a Laffy Taffy fan.
He had his iPad with him. And at one point, because, they're like, he's always asking you questions, and you're looking through, this would be fun. This looks like a great resort. Which was, it all looked like a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Like, who doesn't love fantastic resorts and exotic locations?
Yeah.
And it was great. It was fun to look at that stuff, and that would be a fun place to go. And he had his iPad with him. He's like, hey, wait a minute. Have I shown you my pride and joy?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, no. He's like, let me show you. And he flips through his iPad, and he flips it around and shows it to us. It is a picture of the dishwashing detergent Pride next to a bottle of Joy.
Wow.
It was his pride and joy.
Wow. How old is Craig? Give me a physical rundown.
Craig is...
What's his hair like?
Craig has kind of slicked back, graying hair.
Uh-huh.
Obviously a smoker.
Yeah.
A lifetime smoker. Mm-hmm. He had that kind of vibe to him. He was wearing not quite a Hawaiian shirt, but almost.
Yeah.
Very loud. Obviously, Craig was the senior salesperson there. And, you know, I imagine, because as this was going on, I was doing the same thing. I was trying to, what is Craig's story? I imagine Craig brags a lot about how many sales he gets. Like, nobody gets through the fingers of Craig. This is all stuff that I think he believes. And he's very, very domineering, because there was one point, because he could be as loud as he would want, you know, he would tell us these jokes and he would laugh at them. But if one, like the table next to us got like a little loud, he would like just sneer at him.
Really?
Yeah, at the salesperson over there. I'm thinking Craig's a douchebag.
Douchebag Craig?
Douchebag Craig.
Wow.
We met douchebag Craig.
Well, DBC, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He exists.
Wow.
He lives in Orlando, and he sells timeshares for Hilton. So we go through the whole, you know, like he's very, very friendly. Oh, do you want some more coffee? And then they have to show you a movie. And here's the thing. We went to the movie that's made by the Hilton. You know, this is all like Hilton. This is not, you know, some, you know, fly-by-night company. This is Hilton Hotels. And at the end of the movie they showed us, it was all people that are pleased with their timeshare purchases, obviously. This lady says, my daddy always said, if you want the best, you're going to have to pay a little more. And that really stuck with me. I was like, what? Who are they? We are not the people to be sitting here.
No.
You know, I am not that person. I'm not.
Not
Obviously, I don't have that kind of disposable income.
That seems like a very first-class Titanic thing to say.
Yes, it very was.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very, very much so. And, you know, you're talking about the way that, do you know how a timeshare works?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so you're buying a deed to a property, and you're going to pay, I think Hilton's was like $25,000. And then you pay that like you would pay a mortgage every month. So it would come down to, I think with the interest on it, I think it was around $315 a month.
Wow. But when you stay there, you're there for how long?
Well, you gather, what you're buying really is points.
Right.
And then those points can be turned into stays. So, you know, you buy a package that's 160 points, then you're basically buying 7 or 8 nights, 9 days, 10 days, something like that at one of the Hilton resorts. And then the points vary as to how nice it is, how many bedrooms there are, that whole thing. It's not really it's not a scam for a person with a lot of disposable income that likes to vacation. It just, I would never go so far as to say it's a scam. It's kind of like, you know, buying a car is not a scam, but the salesperson
You can't
that
be
you deal
scammed with the deal you get.
you know, seems shady and sleazy, and that was Craig. And so, you know, we say, yeah, well, this sounds great, Craig, but this isn't for us. Whoa. So I like you people, and I want you guys to. Are you going to vacation at any other point over the next 40 years? Because it's like a 50-year thing. Like once you pay it off for 50 years, well, I think Hilton's was 40. For 40 years, you get to use that timeshare, and then you can, you know, if you die, you can will it to your kids or whatever. And we're like, yeah, but we like, you know, this just isn't for us. Well, wait. Let me go to the back. I think we got something that could be exactly what you folks are looking for. And we're like, okay. All right. So he gets up, he leaves. He's gone for like 5 minutes. And he's like, hey, while I'm gone, just keep looking through the resorts that you'd like to stay at. I'm like, okay. So he comes back. Now, this doesn't happen a lot. Like, I had to check to see if we had any available. Because a lot of times this doesn't. But lucky for you, what has happened is people like to sell their timeshares. So we have like a timeshare that's been sold back to Hilton that we can get you today at a discounted rate. But you have to sign up today.
Wow.
That was another thing. It was like, if you sign up today, you get to be a Hilton Silver, like this, the next level, like the silver level in the rewards club for life.
Wow.
Like you can't go any lower than the silver for life, for the rest of your life, regardless of how much you spend with Hilton. You're at least silver.
It's got to be a whole process to this stuff. I mean, credit checks and school. I mean, all kinds of background. Yeah, I mean, right?
Oh, you mean to buy it?
Yeah.
Oh,
timeshare?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It seems like you just sign here and you're good. It makes it seem so simple, but I'm sure it's much deeper than that. Yeah.
Oh, let me get to the. Oh yeah, and then it's like $1,500 that day. So you have to give them like $1,500 that day, and then you're signing up for $300 or $400 a month.
Yeah.
Until you pay off the
does not
$25,000.
I'm confused how this is worth it. How, in any stretch of the imagination, this comes out to be favorable to who signs up for it.
If you are wealthy and you vacation multiple times a year, this does make sense. But we're not, and we don't, so it's not for us. I mean, the truth is, you basically have your accommodations taken. Once you pay it off, your accommodations are paid for 40 or 50 years. So you can always go to a resort. Now there's blackout dates.
Are there multiple locations, or is it the exact same resort you have to go to?
Oh, no. There's worldwide locations, because not only are you any Hilton resort in the world, it's also, they've worked a deal with other resorts. Like there's a whole thick phone book size.
So I've seen people have timeshares in Gatlinburg. I'm like, meh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's, that's probably where their deed is, because you buy a deed. You're buying a deed. Their deed is probably in Gatlinburg. But now it's like, you can use your points at multiple resorts around the world. So we turned down Craig's offer of a used timeshare. Whatever. They're like, yeah, Craig, that's not really for us. And then he starts doing like the salesman math.
How discounted was the discount he gave you? Do you remember the amount discounted?
I think it was like 10 or 15,000, which like the one he was trying to sell was like 25. So now we're at a 10 or 15,000, and he starts doing the salesman math. He's like, look, now you're going to spend. Look, I'm basically giving you money here now. He says things like that, and we turn that down, and he's like, okay, look, I don't really do this a lot. I don't have to. It's Hilton. I'm like, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I get allotted 100,000 points at the end of the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 100,000 points today for free, and then you buy these points. And so now you're making, it's like, you might as well say, you're making $1 billion on this deal. Because what he's saying is just so
outrageous,
nonsensical. And then this is where Craig turns. Because when we turn that down, he's not our friend anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he starts calling me by my first name.
Really?
And he starts really putting the screws to me. He's like, I don't understand, Patrick. I don't understand. Help me understand. Like, you guys like to vacation, right? Obviously. So I'm trying to do this deal here, and I'm giving you this. And so you don't have to pay any of this today. So I don't understand. Is it you just don't like Hilton? Do you just not like me? It must be me, right? You just don't like me? Like Craig, douchebag Craig, did the "it's not you, it's me" routine.
Wow.
Like, he's like, do you just not like me? I mean, I can get another salesperson here if you want it. I mean, we can get somebody else in here.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, Craig, we just don't. We'll be happy to. And he goes, you do realize that this is the only time you're going to be offered this. Yes, Craig, you have said that about 50 times, that we have to sign up today or we're going to lose these great incentives, which, as I sit here with you today, I don't even remember what they were.
They're that great.
But at the time, they were life-altering. And so and I'm like, hey, so now I'm trying to give him something to just, I think at this point, the 2 hours is up. And I said, you know what, Craig, let us think about it. I know we lose the incentives, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll call you in a month or so and we'll see what else we can do. And he's like, I don't think that's going to happen, but just wait right here. And so he leaves. Now, in the car business, when you try to get out of the deal, the salesman goes and they get their sales manager. And the sales manager comes in and tries to close the deal for them. And I wasn't expecting that, but that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Another guy walks in. I don't remember his name. Let's just say his name's Jim. So Jim walks in. He's a little nicer. He's dressed nicer, or he's a little younger. He's dressed nicer. And he's way more friendly than Craig is at this point. And Jim's like, so you guys need some more time? Yeah, Jim, how much time do you think you might need? What if you looked at this again in a year? And we're like, sure, I can come down here, stay 4 nights in your resort, and go through this again in a year. Yeah, okay, that would be great. Give us a year. Who knows? Maybe in a year we would, be in a different place. Okay, well, here's what I want to do. If you give us $400 today, you're buying that time. I'm going to give you a voucher that you can use for 7 days, 6 nights at any Hilton resort in the world. And I'm going to sell it to you today for only $600. And we're like, yeah, Jim, we're not buying anything today. No, I'm going to have to say no. And finally, after that last no, they were like, okay, well, let's get you out of here. We're going to get you checked out.
When Jim came back, was Craig with him, or was just Jim alone?
Craig came back after Jim gave his pitch.
Okay.
And I went to shake Jim's hand, or I went to shake Craig's hand, and he reached out with his hand at first, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sick." And then he just kind of gave me a fist bump.
Oh, wow.
Craig is not used to being told no.
That's funny.
Because Craig was pissed at the
Wow.
end of his timeshare
Wow.
pitch. Yeah.
That's funny.
But you know what? After that, we went to Epcot and
There
had
you go.
lunch.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic week.
I'm sure it rinsed all the negativity out of your life.
Yeah. Disney World's great. I talked about how great Disney World is. I will tell you two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, we got stuck on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Again, well, you never have before, but
No.
wow, that's
We,
funny.
we were stuck on Pirates of the Caribbean for
Wow.
30 minutes.
Are you serious?
30 minutes.
What part?
You know when you're going around where they're auctioning off the winch?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's the bridge where the one pirate is right above the bridge, and then the other pirate is over there with the pigs oinking with him.
Yeah.
Right there,
That was you, huh?
right in front of the pigs. Like the ride stopped, and you know, and that happens.
Uh-huh.
You know, it'll stop, and then because the boats get backed up,
Yeah.
and then you'll get going again. We were there like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then finally they come on and say they're having difficulties, and they bring the lights on. And that just kills the magic of those rides.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
the
and you
lights
see the-
come
yeah,
on.
yep.
Yeah, the
It
lights
does.
came on, and then
That happened so like I was only there for 5 days and it happened twice to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
the audio stopped, but the animatronics kept going, which was kind of creepy.
Ooh.
So you
see the things and
you have all the animatronics going, like you hear the servos and all the animatronics, and you see the pigs oinking, but they're not making a sound.
Yeah.
that was creepy. But when we got off, they gave us fast passes.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
of that? Oh.
Yeah, they're like,
So they
here's a
just,
fast
like,
pass you can use anytime.
Yeah, they just word of mouth. You want to go back on? You're first in line. I'm like, no, I'm good. Sweaty.
Yeah.
I'm good and sweaty.
So, but they didn't have to pull us off the boat.
I got you.
Yeah, we just had to sit there. We sat there for half an hour.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
You sat out. Wow.
We sat.
It's kind of scary. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know a rush of water could come in. You could die at any moment.
At that point, though, because the whole fun of Pirates is like it's in any of those rides.
Yeah.
The dark rides. Like you know you're in water, but you could be in 3 feet of water or 100 feet of water. You don't know
Yeah.
because it's dark. You just know there's water underneath you. And then when the lights come on and you look beside your boat and you can see the floor, and you're only in like 3 foot of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that sort of stuff. But that was like our first night there.
Really?
That was the Craig day.
That was Craig Day?
That was Craig day.
Yeah?
Like we saw Craig in the morning, and then we went and we ate at Beaches and Cream at Epcot, which was amazing.
Really?
Yeah, we wanted to get the kitchen sink. Google the kitchen sink at Beaches and Cream,
Okay.
and it's the dessert. It's a dessert they offer. It's Beaches and Cream, which is a restaurant at one of the resorts at Disney, and the kitchen sink.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's a real kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's an actual kitchen sink.
And
wow, that's everything in there.
it's supposed to serve 4, and so we were like, we can't do this.
Wow.
And-
you could have.
Yeah, we could have.
I see Oreos and bananas and cherries and
Yeah.
wow.
But we didn't. We didn't do it. And then we went and
Is that a Twinkie in there? What is that?
Probably.
Like chocolate turnover and brownie?
well, other people in the restaurant had it,
Uh-huh.
and then we were looking, and there were like 6 people eating out of it. So we're like, there's no way we could do that.
That's awesome though. How much was that? That had to be $20, right?
Yeah, I think it's like $25. But we had like we have a Disney card, so we
Yeah.
had like some Disney points, so we used that a lot.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have cost us anything, but I was like, it would just be wasteful. But yeah, so we did the Disney thing, and Disney was amazing. Even with the crowds down there, the only time we felt like we were in a crowd was at night.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to the fireworks shows.
How was it? So you were there for the New Year's Eve fireworks show?
Well,
How was that?
What we did was we went to the Magic Kingdom the day before New Year's,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so funny because basically that Friday before New Year's Eve was the Magic Kingdom's run through for New Year's Eve.
Oh, really?
It was like their dress rehearsal. They did the exact same. They did the countdown and the fireworks, and as you're leaving, everybody's like, "Happy New Year, Happy New Year." It's like it was a park-wide dress rehearsal for New Year's Eve.
Really?
And so we did that the night before New Year's Eve. And then we actually spent New Year's Eve in Hollywood Studios, and they did the countdown, and then at midnight did the Star Wars fireworks display
Really?
with all the lasers and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love Disney.
Yeah, I need to go back. It's time.
So I wanted to tell you that, and I didn't say hello to the guy on Pirates,
No?
is why I assumed that it shut down.
It's bad luck.
Do you remember his name?
No.
When we had Barry Elliott on, who worked there and said you always should say hello.
Right, yeah.
Or else you could have problems on the ride.
Oh, yeah.
It happened. We didn't say hello.
That's funny.
And the ride shut down.
It's true. It happened.
I chucked it up to that. I was like, that's my fault too. Craig was my fault. This was my fault.
Man.
So This is kind of a backstory to what I'm about to tell you. I got to see where they're building Star Wars.
Yes. Give it to me.
I got to see where they're building Star Wars.
Give me all the details.
I want to tell you a little backstory as to how I got to do it. So once we survived Craig, I was like, that's got to be the worst timeshare experience you could go through.
You think so?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. He really was yelling at me at one point. And then as you walk around Disney World, you see all these Disney Vacation Club kiosk, which is the Disney version of a timeshare. And I told my wife, I'm like, I bet if we do the Disney Vacation Club thing, we'll get something free, like maybe some fast passes or something. And so she's like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, we can do it. I mean, it can't be any worse than Craig. So I went up to one of the kiosks, and the guy, Disney, they just do everything better. Everything any business does, I believe Disney knows how to do it better. So I go up to the kiosk, and I was like, hey, we're interested in meeting with someone about the Disney Vacation Club. And he's like, really? And I said, yeah. I said, but here's what I want to know first. I said, is it going to be that there's a lot of incentives that I can't turn down that day? And is it going to be high pressure? And are you going to put the screws to me? I said, is it going to be all this? And I kind of gave a little backstory about Craig. I said, if it's that experience, I'm not going to do it. And he said, no. First of all, are you staying at a resort? Yeah. Are you paying to stay at the resort? Yeah. Do you think you'll pay to stay at another resort again? Yeah. Then why would we risk losing you as a customer? I said, oh, that's a good idea. That's actually a good point.
You're right, Disney.
And he goes, aren't you wearing a Disney hat right now? Yeah. So you're advertising for us? Yeah. He goes, yeah, don't worry. He goes, you go in, we just tell you what it is. We don't ask you to sign anything. You go in, you watch it, and he goes, I'm going to give you 3 fast passes to use anytime and a $100 gift card.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, that would be great. So they pick us up. We're at Hollywood Studios that day. They pick us up. Do you know where Rock and Roller Coaster is?
Oh, yeah.
You know where the bathrooms are? And you kind of go, there's like a way you can go backstage. They picked us up there. And they picked us up in a van. They took us over. That timeshare pitch was amazing. The guy was really friendly. They were absolutely right. There was no pressure. They just showed us what it was. It took less than an hour. They gave us ice cream afterwards.
Wow.
And then put us back on a van to take us back to the park. So when we get on the van to go back to the park, I'm making conversation with the guy. And somehow Star Wars gets brought up. And the van driver was like, oh, are you guys Star Wars fans? And we said, yeah. He goes, you want to see where they're building the new park? Yeah. Wow. So he did. He drove around back behind the old Pixar studios to the back of the park. And we got to see where they're building Star Wars.
Wow.
And it was amazing.
That's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. If you go online and you look and you see the when they released what they think it's going to look like.
Yeah, I've seen like the semi blueprints.
Yeah. You see like a huge structure that almost looks Tatooine-ish. I don't know if that's a ride or if it's going to be, it's a big building. I mean, that's totally complete. They haven't put the facade on the outside yet, but the building's done. I don't know if it's going to be a ride or if it's a theater for some sort of fantastic Star Wars show. So they have that complete. They have some of the again, when you look at that picture, they're trying to make, there's lots of trees and stuff. Some of that is up, but what blew me away is when you look at that picture, you see that building, and then center of that area is the Millennium Falcon. And we saw where they've already started building the base of the Millennium Falcon.
Is that pretty much the scale?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Wow.
I mean, the base is huge.
Yeah.
And then you got to think that'll probably end up being like the legs of the ship and park. And then they'll build complete building. So yeah, thanks to our bus driver. I wish I remember his name, but he took us back to Star Wars.
That's awesome.
I also found out that, well, not the Pixar studios, but it was the Disney animation studios that were back there, that up until Lilo and Stitch, I think, they were doing all the Disney animation stuff right there.
Really?
Since that park opened. Because the whole theory was Hollywood Studios would be a working film studio and an amusement park, much like Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it had a picture taken with Chewie.
Yeah, I saw that. And Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, I'm going to tell you this and I'm done. Kylo Ren was, we have like a Disney card. And when you do that, you get photo ops that they don't publicize. And it's, they just tell you where to go. And you don't know who it's going to be. We knew it was going to be a Star Wars character. I thought it was going to be Chewie.
That's awesome.
And so they're like, you're like, yeah, we're here for the Disney card. photo op. And they're like, oh yeah, go back in this hall, and it's what they call the Star Wars launch port or launch pad, and it's basically a Star Wars museum in Hollywood Studios. It's really cool. There's like lightsabers in there and costumes from the movie.
Wow.
And, miniatures and models that they've used. It is a Star Wars museum.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, you just go down this hallway and then make a right, and then it's a left at the Death Star. And I'm like, okay, a left at the Death Star. And sure enough, we go down the hallway, and there's like a screen-used Death Star model in a case. And, yeah, we're here for the Disney card photo op. And they're like, okay, he's almost ready. Just step right in. And so I walk in this room, and there's nobody in there. And then in my peripheral vision, there's like somebody. And so I swing around, and it's Kylo Ren.
A large one, too.
Yeah. Oh, he was tall.
Yeah.
Very tall. And so they stay in character. And they're like, sir, these people have requested a scan with you. He's like, very well. And you take your picture with them. And then he basically pushes you out.
Wow.
He's like, he points out, now leave.
That's awesome.
I'm like, okay. He's very whiny, like Kylo Ren is.
Really? Yeah. That's awesome.
So, in a nutshell, that was Disney.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I need to go back.
So do I.
Yeah.
I just love Hollywood's I think Hollywood is my favorite park.
Really?
Yeah. But as we go, as I've been multiple times now, I really love Animal Kingdom too.
See, I never went to Animal Kingdom or Epcot.
Yeah.
Need to.
Especially the safari that you can go on in Animal Kingdom. It's
Yeah.
cool.
I need to go. Oh, man. But I want to, because I know I won't go so frequently, but I want to see the Star Wars stuff too. So I need to wait until that's done to go there. But
Right,
I want to
'cause
go tomorrow.
There's also the Toy Story Land
Yeah.
that they're working on. And if you've been to Hollywood recently, like in the last few years, well, when you went, there was the stunt show.
Yeah.
Like the car stunt
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
totally gone.
Really?
That's gone. Basically, the park stops now at the Toy Story Mania ride, which is near the Muppets. It's like parallel to the Muppets Theater. That's basically where the park stops now.
Really?
Because everything else behind that is Toy Story Land and Star Wars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
It's going to be awesome.
yeah. I can't wait to go back.
We had a lot of experiences in the past few weeks.
We have.
We did.
Yep. It makes it look, and I got to tell you, coming back to this winter weather,
Yeah.
not fun.
That was a big change.
Huge change.
Big change.
Like just over a week ago, I was wearing shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. About 2 weeks ago, I was on a beach.
Like it got cold one day. Mm-hmm. It got 47 degrees, but it was cold enough to wear like a sweater.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we did like some holiday pictures around the park.
That's cool, though. I bet Disney in the cold is kind of cool.
It was. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they sell a lot of hot chocolate when
That's
it's
cool.
cold.
That's cool.
Because I guess that night it got down to 39.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like 39 degrees, which seemed cold
Yeah,
until you
for that.
come back to this.
Yeah.
Where it's like 10 and 14 degrees.
We could have done like our top things of 2016 movie and entertainment wise, but let's wait until the next episode.
You want to do that on the Friday show?
Yeah, I think we should do a 2016 wrap up. Just a quick little rundown of top games, movies, shows, things that happened that entertained us throughout the year.
Okay, well then we'll end on this.
Okay.
Is there something that you experienced in 2016 that shocked you as to how much you enjoyed it? Like you didn't think you would like it?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think
Doesn't
about.
have to be your favorite.
Yeah. Let me think about that. I'll come back to you on that one.
Yeah.
It's a good question. That's deep.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have one?
Mine would be also my favorite TV show of 2016, and that would be Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't want to steal yours, but I'll coattail that one.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
Which intrigued me.
Yeah. It was
And
fantastic.
then watched it and was blown away.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So it's like an hour and a half.
It's been a long show.
So are we caught up now?
Almost. We have a few more things, and then we'll be good to go.
I think
for
we
the
do
next
have a few
episode.
more things.
Yeah.
Check us out on Friday. We'll be back.
Right. Normal scheduling. Your normal schedule program.
This is weird. This is the Tuesday show, and we actually recorded on Monday.
Weird, huh?
Because of the damn snow, we couldn't record last week.
We tried on Friday. We tried to give you a Friday show.
Yeah.
Didn't happen so much.
But Mother Nature saw otherwise.
Yeah. Couldn't even. Well, I couldn't leave. Well, I probably could have, but I wouldn't want to leave the house. But you had to go other places, and it wasn't pleasant.
Oh, I was in downtown Nashville when
Yeah.
all this started Friday
Yeah.
morning.
And to be fair, I'm sure that was terrible, but to be fair, I'm sure the ride there was much better on the interstates compared to the small back roads where no one drives or any sunlight hits those.
Yeah, the ride there wasn't bad. The
Yeah.
ride home at noon
Pretty rough.
for Nashville, and I know if you're from, because we have a lot of listeners in the Northeast and the, near the Great Lakes area
Yeah.
where you get feet of snow. And you're like, oh, you guys are dumb. You can't. No, I will. Yeah, I don't drive on it.
Well, it's not just
I can't
that,
drive
but-
on it, and it stresses me out.
It's not just that, but like when I went to Wisconsin last year, I mean, they have, their state just has the prep for that. They have the road salted. They have huge shovel trucks. I mean, there are 8 feet of snow on the side of the roads because the roads are so cleared from that.
Yeah.
It's not just never once in Wisconsin did I have to drive on ice or snow. All the snow and the ice were on the side because the state took care of it. That's the difference.
Yeah, they
Whereas
don't do
here in
that here.
Tennessee, that doesn't happen.
They throw a bunch of
the roads
salt
are
on
ice. Yeah, the roads are ice. That's all there is to it.
There's like one plow per county.
Mm-hmm.
And
Pretty much,
so you get a couple inches of snow and you're trying to drive on it. They've thrown ice on it, so it's kind of melted, but then it got cold.
And
so
it freezes again.
So it freezes again. So you're just driving through frozen slush, hoping that you don't slide into the rig that's passing you, the semi that's passing you to your left.
Yeah.
Ugh. But that was our Friday.
Yeah, that's fun.
So now we're caught up.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, we'll come back Friday. We'll do the best of 2016.
Let's do it.
And Gamers Corner will be back.
Yeah, we are back in the normal swing of things.
And I don't know. We'll see what else we can talk about on Friday.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
This has been your Tuesday show.
The episode 1 of season 7.
Tonight, which is Monday, before this comes out, you are recording with the ESO guys, right?
I am, yeah. 45 years of Atari. What's going to be about? So I'm pretty excited.
And so their show comes out on Thursday.
Yes.
So this Thursday, you'll be on the ESO show.
Yeah, check out Earth Station 1 podcast. We've been part of their network now for, almost 2 years? Almost, yeah.
Yeah, this will be our 2-year anniversary coming up February 1st.
But my first time on the Earth Station 1 podcast. I'm excited.
And you're not even in the geek seat.
I know. It's all right. It's all good.
Also, check out Collection Connection.
Do that, yeah. Fantastic episode of Spider-Man recently.
It's 3 parts.
Is it 3 parts?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Our buddy Mike Dudley is back with Josh.
He knows his stuff.
And catch this week's show. It's part 1 of a 3-part series just about Spider-Man.
That's awesome.
And there's some really cool history that I didn't know about where Spider-Man might have actually come from.
Right, yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's really cool. Check us out online, adamandjp.com.
On Facebook.com/AdamandJP, and on Instagram sometimes. And sometimes even on Twitter at AdamandJP as well.
I'm Jay Patrick, that's Adam.
This is the Adam and JP Show.
Face Stealer.
This has been a production of the Adam and JP family of on-demand talk radio.
AdamandJP.com.
Right now.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network, your station for all things geek, classic, current, and beyond. Be part of the crew at ESONetwork.com.